This is Rocky Gap State Park. Outside of Cumberland, Maryland. Amazing. Peaceful. So today what we thought we'd do is take you for a walk. Where are we?
We are in Cumberland, Maryland at the Rocky Gap State Park.
State Park, Rocky Gap State Park, Cumberland, Maryland. That's right. And it's funny because it's before season right now, and so we're literally the only people here, and they allowed us to park here, which I thought was pretty cool. But it's definitely a state park. It's definitely rough.
Yes.
Like not as maintained as others, but beautiful, beautiful nonetheless. There's actually a Rocky Gap lake right there. It's man-made. They dammed it up, so pretty awesome. What we thought we'd talk about today while we're just going for a walk in this beautiful woods is more lessons learned.
More lessons you learn are endless.
Harvey Newbie. It's funny because we're not really newbies, but I think we continue to learn newbie mistakes or have newbie. I don't know what the word is. So
the first one I think we should talk about is the awning.
Oh, good one.
I think everybody battles with awnings and RVs. Every awning, every shape and form of an awning.
Yeah.
But we have an electric awning, and I can't remember the name of it. Can you? Anyway,
I'll put it up there.
The motor went out.
Yeah, the motor went out.
And so the awning would not come out. So this guy decided that he was going to go on YouTube.
Get some YouTube ideas.
Find out how you can manually pull that awning out.
Well, in fairness,
the motor working.
Yeah. In fairness to me, we're in Arizona.
So
we needed some shade.
Okay.
It was hot.
That's great. So I guess my point is that when you watch a YouTube video, you need to make sure that they give you all the information. So he watched this YouTube video on how to pull it out. You just remove this nice little screw on the top and it pulls out, and it's wonderful.
It releases the coils.
Yay.
Yay, it's all fixed. Yay.
Until you want to pull it back in.
No, it works going back in too.
Yeah,
it rolls up.
it rolls up, but doesn't stay there. So when you're going down the highway at 65 miles an hour and your awning comes out, that's never good.
In New Mexico, right next to a truck.
So,
okay, so
newbie mistake is when you watch a YouTube video, make sure you know how to wrap it back, the awning back up, and know how to put the screw back in.
Lock it.
Because he tried to put the screw back in, but it would not go in.
That's the point, and that's
so he just assumed that it really wasn't needed to lock it in place. He just assumed that it was, you know.
Okay, so here's the behind stories. Thank you for Gale for opening up this whole can here, but it was actually really a bad deal. But what happened was we got that awning out, and it was great, and it rolled back up. But when it rolled back up, I noticed that the spring did not line back up perfectly to put the screw back in. So that's okay.
Who needs
Genius.
a screw?
Who needs it? We kept it. Thank goodness we kept it. Genius thought, hey, let's put some ties onto it and tie that bad boy. We rednecked it up, you know. So we got it all fixed up. Went down the highway. We were in Phoenix, Arizona. We drove all the way to Tucson, no problems. We're on the New Mexico-Texas border, and the wind was unbelievable. And it literally picked that awning up and out. And I'm talking about full extension. Full extension. It was terrible.
Arms are out, the whole nine, looked like we were setting up camp.
And we were in the passing lane, passing a big rig. And it was just terrible. And we get past El Paso, heading in to Odessa, Midland, Texas. And I'm not joking, it's like a hurricane out there. That wind was blowing it literally probably 50, 60 miles an hour. And it snapped them, just snapped them right in two. It was just horrible. And I got it back in again. Put it back in, and then no joke, 30 miles down the road it happened again. And you can see up here it's really ripped it. So we're gonna have to repair this when we get to Oklahoma. But for now, on the side of a highway, almost to Odessa, Texas, I gotta sit here and pull this brake, go up on top, pull those off, bust them, fix them, pull this out. It's gonna be fun. And thankfully, we were really kind of blessed that it didn't take the whole awning off the motorhome. I'm talking about, I've seen pictures where the awning is in the traffic. So we were really blessed to have that. So we sat on the side of the highway,
Fixed it.
And Gale comes up and she says, why don't we try putting that screw back in there? I'm like, I tried it, it doesn't fit. And then I got an idea. I have an oil filter wrench that's big for the diesel, and I wrapped it around that whole coil, and I just turned it, and I was able to, at the same time, put that screw in there, and we haven't had a problem since. So.
And that screw's never coming out.
Never.
So another lesson that we have learned is that when you are parking your RV, that you need to be level when it's raining. So what had happened was it was torrential rain.
Yes.
And blowing
Sideways.
Blowing sideways, and we are not level, and of course we weren't home either. So we come home and rain had gotten in underneath our slide and completely soaked our couch and our rug that we had laid down on the floor. Thankfully we don't have carpet, because that would have been just a mess.
Been ruined. Yeah.
But so we were able to just throw the carpet out, or the rug out. Yeah. So it's not the end of the world, but still, all that water just saturated the whole thing.
Yeah, I think what people say is you're actually supposed to bring in the awnings when it's raining. I don't know anybody that actually does that, but in the future, here's what we'll do. Is if it's raining
and it's blowing,
and we're not going to be home,
yeah,
then we'll bring in the sides. Number one. Number two, if it's the severity of the rain is intense enough, we bring the side in, okay? The other part of that that's interesting is the leveling part. It's so funny because all my life when you talk about RVs, everybody knows you're supposed to level out. The reasoning that they told us that you needed to level out was because the refrigerator was LP, and it all had to do with being balanced and air and getting air in the lines, and I mean there's all these little problematic things. But now since most people have inverters and most people have you know, pretty much home appliances, yeah, refrigerator, that's not a problem anymore. So, and what's interesting is we're not unlevel this way. We were unlevel this way because we're here at this park, and side to side. It wasn't, this is not the greatest leveled spots. And our coach, yeah, go ahead.
And our motorhome is air leveled by air.
Yeah.
So we can only go so high or so low or whatever. So it's never.
We don't have jacks.
Yes.
Which is supposed to be a really cool feature, and it is most of the time, but that turned out to be a real pain.
Yeah.
And so when the water went in sideways under the awning, then the coach is sitting like this. It just came right inside, poured down off of our slide onto our thankfully leather couch. The couch just rejected the water perfectly, and it just poured onto the floor and ruined our rug and a couple other things that ruined, but we are grateful. But make sure that you're level. Might want to think about not letting your awning stay out while it's raining. Those are a couple lessons. The last one I think that we want to talk about today, as we're finishing up our amazing, beautiful walk here, is the issue with our inverter. I'm on the side of the highway.
Yeah, you don't know what really is going out. Is it the alternator or is it the inverter? Because it could have been, they both could have been going out at the same time, or it could have been the inverter went out and the alternator, trying to keep those batteries charged, went out too. So
the other lesson that I learned was that we were in a Flying J in Abilene, Texas, and we called in a roadside, yeah, and he was a complete thief. Told us nothing but lies and charged us
$250.
an exorbitant amount of money, and
to tell us that I think he's the one that told us our alternator was out.
Yeah, yeah, and our batteries. He told us a bunch of stuff. Anyhow, it was all most everything he said was wrong. So
besides the alternator.
Yeah, the thing that I think is so interesting though is her perspective, and this is little insight that only she could really give you. She had a nagging feeling something was wrong.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of different signs where the inverter would go out, then it would come back on, and instead of us dealing with this situation at the time, testing different things to see what's happening, we just kind of, well, it must be okay because it's coming back on, instead of looking at that as a sign of be aware. We didn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good perspective. We hope that you enjoyed this video of just some more lessons that we learned. The thing is,
it's always a learning.
Yeah. It's very fluid. This is a fluid learning. A learning journey. A learning journey. That's what we ought to name our YouTube channel. A learning journey with Johnny and Gale Rowlett. We're so glad that you joined us today, and we hope that any lessons we learn,
we're passing them along.
We're passing along to you, no matter how ignorant they are, because we do know that I'm fully expecting there to be about 100 negative comments on here about, how dumb could you be, kind of. Well, it's I will admit that some of it is ignorance, and some of it is rushing to get somewhere, and some of it is just dumb luck, and some of it is just pure stupidity. I agree. But how else are you going to learn? So Any things that we've learned through any of those venues, any of those problems, we will pass them on to you. And that's a promise. Thanks for joining us on Full Time Freedom Run.